Hello, everyone. You're watching Kilted Prepper Live. And let's see here. Let's let some folks get into the room. Let's adjust the camera also. See me a little better. Oh, how's everybody doing this evening? Anybody out there? Hello. Check test, check test. So, I don't know about you guys, but here in the Virginia area, we're getting some rain, much needed. My garden is still producing like crazy. Got tons of tomatoes, and my yellow squash is coming in. I need to cut my basil and start drying that. Also, my sage, also my oregano, and I think I got some lavender. I had a guy do our lawn and everything, and he did a great job and stuff, but he used the weed eater on all my mint, and so all my mint is gone now. And he didn't know that. He just thought it was, some happenstance plant or weed or something like that. But yeah, he ate up all my mint. So there wasn't really that much to harvest this year. I was starting these plants, and the good thing about him weeding it is I finally realized that even though I had the mint in a good area, it wasn't getting enough sun, so it really didn't propagate and proliferate and things where I could really get a good harvest from mint and everything. Hey, RC Anderson, how you doing, bud? So, but yeah, the rains came in, and so I'm gonna need to be been picking more tomatoes like crazy, yellow squash. But again, I said my basil bushes are gigantic, and so what I'm going to do those is get them, wash them off, and just throw them right in the dehydrator, and then pull the leaves off. I found that a lot easier to do versus pulling the leaves off and dehydrating the leaves. You just stick the whole plant in, or cut up the stems and stuff like that while you're dehydrating your basil, as well as your rosemary and my sage. Yeah, my sage and everything too. So I find doing the actually just sticking the stems and everything in there and cleaning them off when they're dry, heck of a lot easier than doing it then it's wet. So we got Joan, we got Lori, we got a Facebook user, we got HT6. Hey Heather, how you doing? Good to see you here. So give folks a couple more minutes here. So just sit here and yammer on. Miss Red, good afternoon from Arkansas, or AK. That's Arkansas, right? So where's Alaska? Is AK Alaska or Arkansas? I forget. So my cucumbers are going now, and I snuck one, and they're amazing. Good job, Lori. I tried my cucumbers, and it must have been the spices that I put on them and everything, but they were horrible. And so I haven't done cucumbers again. And then also another thing I didn't do is peel them. I just sliced them and put them in. I probably should have peeled them because the peels tend to be on the bitter side. And so my cucumbers just did not turn out. So mental note, peel your cucumbers before you dehydrate them. Life and time of Texas mom, working on a compost too. Yeah, we've got a big old compost pile growing. The leaves are starting to fall, so we're gonna have a giant compost pile, by the time we rake it up and get all the leaves and everything on the compost pile and stuff. Hey Karen, how you doing? So but yeah, give folks a couple more minutes to get in here and everything. It is 3:04 minutes now. But other things going on. Oh my goodness. Uh for those of who been following me and everything, I'm doing it's not really a physical challenge, it's more of a mental challenge, and it's called 75 Hard, and I am on day 12. And what I do with that challenge is I do two 45-minute workouts. One of them has to be outside, and yes, it was raining this morning, so I did a 45-minute walk in the rain. Thank goodness I have a good rain jacket. And then you're supposed to drink a gallon of water, and then eat a good, clean, healthy diet, or whatever diet you choose. You also can't have any alcohol, and you got to read 10 pages of a nonfiction book or some sort of self-help book or something like that. And so I've been doing it. I'm on day 12 today. I've got everything done. Last week, I was actually doing my little bicycle thing that I had underneath my desk while I was, doing my last show last Saturday night, but jumped ahead, got it done, and so kicked it out. Got the spice from Costco, put it on my tomato, and did the other. Totally can't stop eating. Yeah, dehydrated tomatoes, folks. If you're looking for an outrageous snack, dehydrate your tomatoes and make tomato chips. Another thing I'm experimenting, zucchini chips, because I'm really working hard on eating healthy right now and everything. I've been drying or dehydrating zucchini chips and spicing them up with all these different spices and everything like that. And my goodness, they're delicious. And so I found a brand new thing to do with my zucchini. Our daughter loves them and everything, and they got a potato chip consistency. They taste good, and so yeah, give that a try if you're looking for a healthy snack. Zucchini chips. Reading Meinhof, uh, the Wim Hof method and probiotic diet. Good job. So, but yeah, tonight's topic, and for those of you who don't know, I do a boatload of research on history, and I have been really focusing a lot on the Great Depression because I really see our nation heading that direction if we are not already kind of on the cusp of that already. If you take the old formula of what caused, or are we in a recession or not, and you use the old formula, we're in a recession. But the current administration got all fancy, decided to, fancy up the numbers and, do all that junk so that they can show that we're not in a depression. But even by their numbers, we're sitting on the edge. But based on the old formula, which was used for years, um, we are in a recession right now. And so more and more financial pundits, more and more financial CEOs. And in fact, I was just reading just today that another banking CEO, well, I don't know, Jamie Dimon, he is, I think, was it Chase, or yeah, I think it's Chase that he heads up. Jamie Dimon tends to be on the doom and gloom side anyways, but yeah, he came out today or yesterday and was talking, the depression word. But I'm starting to hear the word depression more and more often. Excuse me. And so this is coming from, not only CEOs, but a lot of the people in, I check out Wall Street Journal. I read a lot of a website called Market Watch. And so if you're really looking for a good financial website, Market Watch is a really good one. I want to say that to subscribe to get all their news and everything, it's only something like $275 or $475, something like that. And if you really want to track economics and track what's going on out there, look into subscribing to Market Watch. Great reporting, great information, and they pull in a lot of the other big name sources as well as Wall Street Journal, Forbes, so forth and so on. But I read a lot of that, but I'm starting to see the word depression, as a warning being spoken more and more often now. And it's looking like the feds will probably do another rate hike, which I think is absolutely insane. It's the current price of the dollar right now is sitting around 106.25. And whenever the dollar raises, it really throws a whammy in international trade, international business, companies here and everything. And so it's hammering the stock market right now because we have a strong dollar. Well, the reason we have a strong dollar is because China, Japan, and the UK has been dumping treasury bills like crazy. And the Federal Reserve is obligated to buy those T-bills back. And so how do they do that? They whip out the good old Xerox machine, get some dollars and buy them that way. So it's basically kind of a big Ponzi scheme. But what that is doing, because the T-bills are being bought up like crazy, by the Fed, what's happening is it's causing the dollar to go up. But it's really hammering the stock market right now. The S&P 500 is really feeling it. NASDAQ is feeling it as well. And so it's not a good thing. And so for a dollar, so basically what our dollar is worth right now is $1.06. And so, but that little 6 cents means a lot in international trade, big business, and so forth. And so, yeah, it's really hammering the stock market. Bonds are doing kind of, not too hot as well and everything, but it's because the feds are buying so much. But it's really hurting, the economy in a big way. And this is why I've been warning for the last 3, 4 months now to watch for the fall or the fall season, and start watching to see how markets are doing and everything. I think the markets are going to do bad. And so, yeah, the markets are doing bad right now, but also start looking for more bank closures and things like that. And so we're seeing more and more signs of, what maybe people can call is a soft depression. We're not quite there yet. We are definitely, in my opinion, definitely in a recession, but we're moving slowly that way. And if the feds do another rate hike, which is what is suspected here to take place, then, we may see even more problems in the market and all this other stuff. And, it isn't, I mean, I have to admit, it isn't as bad as during the Jimmy Carter years when interest rates were sitting at 18%, 20% for a home. And so, but we're sitting right now about 6, 7, some 8% and everything. And so not great for the economy. The big thing though is that we had strong trade, and we still had a lot of manufacturing and everything during the Jimmy Carter era versus now, where we have zero manufacturing or very little manufacturing, and then our trade is kind of going down. So another thing that also is, like it or not, in the trade arena, we are in a economic war with China. And China kind of has us over a barrel in a number of ways. But on the flip side, we got China over a barrel too. So, thus the economic trade war. And so this is something that is strongly affecting the economy as well, and something that I have been warning people for, gosh, the last 6 months now, is to keep an eye on China. Now, on one hand, if you read some of my articles, I talk about how China's economy is dying, and their because they basically lacked. They did one child policy for so many years. Now they don't have the kids or the younger adults or something to basically take over and be a consumer market. So their economy is imploding for that. But on the flip side, they're still producing stuff and everything. And so we're seeing a lot of things going on in China. But one of the things that they have done is they have leveraged trade with us. And so because of that, they have us over a barrel. Now, something that they could do, and this is something I've been speculating and warning people about, is get ready for when cheap Chinese stuff automatically stops. And so that is something that's very concerning to me, and things. But again, I'm looking at all these things, and I'm looking at the correlating factors of what's happening now versus what happened during the Great Depression. Yeah, certain things were different and everything like that, but I am seeing some commonalities in these two different time frames. And like it or not, I am super concerned about a depression entering into our nation. And if we have a depression, it doesn't mean that it's going to go away overnight. It's going to take years to get out of. Just like the Great Depression, it took about 10 years, 15 years to actually get our nation healthy again. But that's what I am really speculating. A lot of people are concerned about nuclear bombs being dropped on us, and EMPs, and the dead raising from the graves and eating our brains and everything like that. But I tend to bring it more closer to home and focus on the reality of what's happening. Yeah, could nukes be dropped on us? Yeah. Could we see an EMP? Yeah. Could we have a solar, whatever the heck it's called, event? Yeah. But what are the odds of those happening versus what's happening with the economy right now? And so we are moving closer and closer to that precipice of from recession to depression. And these are all, again, based on the old formula. not the new numbers that the current administration is fudging and making up and, doing all their fancy number calculating junk and everything. So let's see who we got in here. We got Joe, we got Karen, we got Chantel, we got Heather. So yeah, we've got some good people here. But so let's jump right into this. So tonight's talk is: Are you ready for the Great Depression, or preparing for a Great Depression? Excuse me. Now, in my research, it was rather interesting. In my research, I saw that the folks during the Great Depression, there was a lot of families who actually did well. But one of the things that I really strongly noticed is that they were somewhat prepared. But some of the traits, they were very strong-willed people. They had a very strong family unit. They saw what was coming and they prepared for it. Many people became very self-sufficient as possible, and they had perseverance. So these were the big issues, but a lot of people didn't. You know, Many families survived by, planting gardens, canning, basically doing all the same thing that we're doing. I mean, even some used cardboard and old rubber tires and everything for the bottom of their shoes and do shoe repair and everything. And even in the steep decline of food prices, still a lot of families didn't eat meat or have milk. Clothing was another issue. Which is something I see happening with us possibly, is that with clothing, a lot of our clothing comes from China. And China is actually the number one producer of cotton. Levi's are no longer made in the United States. In fact, they're owned by China. And then Wrangler is no longer made in the United States, and they are also owned by China. So a lot of our cotton products and everything, come from China, because they have the most cotton and the most people in the production and everything like that. But again, I see their economy starting to dwindle due to their age and other situations going on over there. So, but many families, worked on repairing their clothes and making clothes last as long as possible. There was a big thing of hand-me-downs, and many families, many mothers, became seamstresses and everything during the Great Depression. People also focused a lot on making sure their children were properly fed and healthy. Many of the parents had multiple sources of income, and they worked really hard to ensure that there was a good, strong family unit and that kids were taken care of, because kids were the future. Again, this is again going back to a very strong family unit mentality. And I think this is something that we have greatly lost these days. So this is something that is concerning to me. Something else that was very popular was the barter system, because not many people had cash, and so payment and everything was made in eggs, fresh milk, produce. And desperate people even found that they were able to beg outside restaurants and everything. And yeah, sure, there were restaurants and stuff, because a lot of people saw what was coming, and so they prepared for this. You know, um, just about everyone had a garden, and most gardens were enormous. This is something that we've done this year. This was our big investment year. Is we put in three 4-foot by 32-foot long raised beds, and that can produce a lot of veggies. But this is something that we're doing. I'm even maybe considering putting in an extra raised bed. I've also bought a lot of dirt bags, and big believer of dirt bags and everything. So I'm going to be using a lot of those and planting in those as well. And so something that you may consider. Again, they had a lot of gardening going. And then, basically 20% of the families still lived on farms, and, there were still cities and everything. But neighbors and family members were very supportive of each other. They would often help each other, donating meals, money, wherever possible. And again, people supported, taught, and learned from each other. And this is why you may start, this is why I'm not a proponent of bugging out. So many preppers said, oh, we're going to bug out and everything like that. Where is your support system? Your support system, like it or not, is your neighbors. Your MAG group, or your mutual assistant group, is your support system. But I find, probably just like the old days, your neighbors and your local areas and everything is your support system. And so this is why I'm really encouraging people right now, start making friends with your neighbors and so forth, so that you can start, creating these networks and start making these friends and everything. A program that I highly recommend people getting on and start leveraging is an app called Nextdoor. This is something that both me and Cynthia use all the time. We're buying stuff off of it. We are also finding other gardeners and other things like that. But it's a great app to get on board with, so that you know what's going on in your community and you can start networking with other people, so that when things happen, if Bob down the street, say we're in depression, bad things happen, Bob's hurt or something like that, take him a pot of soup or something like that. The During hard times, people pull together. And one of these big Hollywood ideas is thinking everybody's going to be Mad Max and we're all going to be living in a Thunderdome and stuff like that. And it's not true. I mean, if you look at Argentina, you look at a lot of these other countries that have gone through, financial issues and everything, the people who prepared did well, and they also looked out for each other. It is human nature to do this. And so this is why I'm very pro bugging in, doing your preps, doing all this, establishing networks, establishing knowing who your neighbor is, get to know them. And if they're not preppers or anything, encourage them to start prepping and everything. Just the other day, I mean, actually it was this morning. This morning I was on my walk and things, and I've been talking to this guy every time because he tends to be outside every time. He's got a Papillon. We have a Papillon. Those are dogs that you don't see very much, but we're striking up conversations and everything. And I just started noticing that he looks like kind of a prepper sort of person. He wears, well, he had like camo shirt and some OD green shorts, and he's got coffee and guns on his car, and he's got some other stickers on the vehicles, and some of the things that he said and everything makes me, or leans me towards believing that he is at least a conservative and pro-gun sort of person. So basically open to preparedness, which a lot of people who lean in that area tend to be open to preparedness. So God was talking to me and everything, and so today I left him all my books on my step, and I'm working at growing a relationship with him. So getting to know my neighbors and everything, who can I depend on? Who can we start working together with? Because he's kind of almost in our backyard. And so it's far apart, but still he's kind of in our backyard. So if I had to walk through the woods to get to his house, it would actually be a lot easier versus walking the street and everything. But I digress here. But the big thing is people supported, taught, and learned from each other. And this is something that we're going to see again. It isn't going to be, Mad Max or anything. Hunting and fishing was big. Hunting and fishing fed families in major ways. And then, folks, if this is not a skill that you have going for you, if you don't know how to hunt and fish, if you don't know how to do this, you don't have your hunting license or fishing license, or invest in that, at least right now, and get it so you can start practicing these skills. This is something you just don't go out and say, throw a hook in the water, catch a fish, or do you even know how to clean it? And things. If you shoot a deer or shoot a rabbit or something like that, do you even know how to process and clean it? So these are important skills that you need to start learning to do now, because again, this is a kind of a forgotten skill, especially in a lot of the metropolitan areas. In a lot of the metropolitan areas, hunting and fishing is considered more for the rich people. They have the time to go hunting and fishing and everything. Whereas maybe a lot of us, maybe who are more in the suburbs and stuff, have more hunting and fishing and so forth like that. And in fact, in the area where I live right now, Salem, the city has actually asked us to shoot more deer because we're starting to get a rather large deer population going. So, but even then, there's a lot of people who don't know how to hunt and fish and so forth. So hunting and fishing is a big deal, something that you need to do. This is free food, folks. And by doing these things now, start filling your freezer, throw a deer in the freezer, throw some rabbits in the freezer, some fish in the freezer, so forth. You're able to, fill that up and get ready and start practicing for this. Another thing that a lot of people had was side income, side business. I'm a big, massive proponent of, any way that you can to bring in side business, side hustle, so forth and so on. This is a biggie. And as some of you guys know, I'm involved with Thrive Life. I am Amazon affiliate. I do some other affiliate works. I write my books. I also am part of Patriot Switch. And the thing is, what I like about my side businesses is these are things that I will use no matter what already. And so it's not like I'm spending anything extra. I want survival food. So guess what? I'm getting survival food. I want consumer goods. And in fact, what we've done by switching over to Patriot Switch, we completely wiped out shopping at Walmart. We don't buy stuff anything anymore. I mean, even our headache pills and allergy pills and all that other stuff we get from Patriot Switch. It's a shopping club. I can't say the name because I'm an influencer. Blah 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 blah. The rules and everything like that. But no matter what, we're saving money. These are all American made. Everything like that. Both companies are outstanding companies. Otherwise, I would not, be putting my name on these or talking to you about them. But if you have any questions, contact me. I'll be glad to, talk to you. Also in the description below, I have links to my Thrive and my Patriot Switch. But I really highly encourage people to start looking into side income. Look at what skills you have and everything. It's what can you leverage? Do you got kids? I mean, when I was a kid, my mom was a Depression era child, and I was working at age 13. I had a job at age 13 because she strongly believed idle time is the devil's time, and so I had a job. Even she got me or helped me get a job at the school, sweeping the halls and everything like that to keep myself busy and everything. So anything to get your kids moving, yourself moving, side incomes. If you're interested in Thrive, or you're in Patriot Switch, or some of these other things that I'm doing, again, contact me. Let me help you. So, but people had side incomes, home-based business, and folks, these things help also for taxes in a huge way. So, think about it. Another thing that I really strongly noticed with families, they had a very strong relationship with God, and it was something very important in their lives. People had, they attended church, they read the Bible, they prayed, they had a very strong relationship with God. And the folks that had this going for them, I noticed that they just had a better life. And again, I can't, it's all the articles, all the research and everything. And there's a lot of factors, a lot of commonalities that I'm seeing of the people who did well versus the people who did not. And so the people who did well had a strong relationship with God. God was a very important part of their family. So those who did not have persistence and a strong mind, they were not a strong family unit. They did not have side incomes or home gardens, or they didn't hunt and fish, or had a strong relationship with God. These people did not do well. And this is the research that I'm seeing over and over again. And these are the same things that keep popping up in all the articles, a lot of the ebooks that I've been reading and researching and stuff. These are the main contributing factors of those who survived, quote unquote, versus those who didn't do well. And you see all the pictures of the Great Depression of these people like in this picture here, this family, they look down and out, clothes don't fit, they're dirty, they live in a tin hut, so forth and so on. So these people probably didn't prepare well, and or also lacked some of these characteristics or these common points that I've been seeing, and so they didn't do well. So the big thing that I need to ask you guys is, what is the holes in your preparedness? And so many people out there, we all got the food, water, meds, beans, bullets, and band-aids covered. We got that covered. But the persistence and strong mind, the grit, The strong family unit. Does your family, come at the dinner table and everybody's looking at their cell phone, or do you even have family dinner anymore? That's a big key right there. Um, do you have any side incomes? Do you have a home garden? Do you hunt and fish? Now, a lot of people who are preppers do have home gardens, and a lot of them do hunt and fish. But, and out of all these things, I recognized, or I saw some issues with these, and so you know again, what are the holes in your preparedness strategy? Look at this list and really contemplate what's going on here. And again, talking to a lot of preppers, and this is the interesting point, folks, is when I go to these conventions, or when I'm talking to people on Facebook, or when I'm answering email and everything, again, I'm starting to see that a lot of preppers don't really have these things going for them. You know, they say they got a strong mind of persistence and everything, but like it or not, folks, I'm going to be very blunt. People in today's age and time are weak. I mean, a lot of people have this weak-minded mentality, especially the younger crowds. I mean, it's absolutely ridiculous and everything. Another issue that I've been recognizing and seeing is, again, a lack of a strong family unit. The preppers and everything, when the certain questions I ask and everything, I hear them hum, haw, well, and that tells me that they're not having a strong family unit. you know Another biggie is a lot of preppers think, oh, my beans, bullets, band-aids, and food, water, medicine's gonna get me through. I'm fancy, I'm doing it, and I'm honky dory, but they don't have a side income. Well, one of the biggest thing in during the Great Depression is that 1 in 4 people had a job, and most people were unemployed. And so side incomes are very, very important. Again, this is why I'm stressing these things, is to get a side income going, start looking at all these things. That's why I did the class a little while ago on alternate income and everything like that. But side incomes, I'm noticing a lot of preppers are lacking in side incomes. Now, of course, a lot of preppers have, home gardens. They've, hunt and fish and stuff, but still, have they, or do they really hunt and fish? I don't know. But the biggest one is that a lot of people, don't have a strong relationship with God. I ask a number of preppers and everything, hey, do you go to church? And well, we don't like this church, or churches are no good anymore, and all they are doing begging for. I mean, they got all these excuses. And like it or not, God tells us to go to church. Don't forsake the brethren. And yet all these people give all these excuses for whatever reason. Oh, I don't like the way the carpet looks, or the pews suck, or I mean, anything. But I highly recommend get in a church and join it and lay your roots, because like it or not, it's part of that strong family unit. This is your church family that is also going to help you. But in talking to a number of preppers and everything, they don't have a strong relationship with God. They say they do, but once you start talking to them and questioning them and start, doing some social engineering and everything with them, you find out that they really don't. And so this is something that is greatly concerning as well. So again, all these things are what you need to ask yourself. What are the holes in your preparedness strategy that you are lacking in? This is the list that I am seeing when I talk to preppers. This is also the list that I am seeing when I do my research. And so write this list down and then get real with yourself and say, hey, am I lacking in some of these areas? And if so, fix them. Because the families that survived and I want to say thrived and did well during the Great Depression had these traits. The families who did not have these traits did not fare well. And so, even though they may have had beans, bullets, and band aids and everything, if they lacked these things, again, these categories right here, then they did not fare well. And so this is why I'm kind of preaching this and everything, warning people to really look at this list, write this list down, and really do a self-evaluation And see, excuse me, hold on. Do a self-evaluation of yourself and see where you are. And again, get real with yourself. Don't lie, don't sugarcoat yourself and everything. And really ask yourself, hey, do I have, a strong persistence? Do I have grit? Do I have that strong will, that strong mind? Do I have the home garden? Do I have this? Do I have that? Do I have the relationship with God? So forth and so on. But again, these things are critical of you winning or losing during a Great Depression. And folks, like I said, I strongly believe that these things are coming. And and like I said, if you prepare for that, then you know what? You got the nukes, the EMP, and probably most of the dead zombies rising out of the earth wanting to eat your brains covered already. So by preparing for a Great Depression, all these other things will be taken care of as well. Okay, throw in a Geiger counter and, some of these other things. So, but still, I think prepping and planning for what's coming down the road and stuff is what is vitally important. That's what I'm seeing on the horizon. And, this is something that I've been working on for the last, I mean, this yeah, for the last year actually is taking care of all these things and all these areas so that my family will thrive better during an economic collapse versus, others. Because even though you have beans, bullets, and band-aids, doesn't guarantee that you're going to make it. Because in some of the research that I've been doing, there were farmers and everything. They had beans, bullets, and band-aids and everything, but they didn't have that. Or other people in the city, they didn't have beans, bullets, and band-aids, and they were screwed, blued, and tattooed no matter what. But I encourage you also to do a lot of research on the Great Depression yourself. Start looking at some of these things so that you can start seeing some common traits that happened back then versus what is happening now. And how did they survive that? How did they get through those issues, those storms, those upsets, or whatever? How did they do it? Learn from our elders. They were the smart ones. So we have a chance still. I still believe that we have time. I've been saying for probably about a month now. I feel in my gut that our span of time is slowly shrinking, but we still have time. And so I'm really encouraging people to really start hardcore prepping, start doing some strong self-evaluations and really looking at it and not just coasting on the prepper wave, because it's an easy thing to do. I got my beans, bullets, band-aids, I'm covered, and things. Really delve deep into those categories that I shared with you tonight so that you can make it through and start working on this, because this is what I've been doing for the past year, is focusing on doing all these things to strengthen my family unit and doing well, because I do see a depression coming. And it's going to get ugly, and there are a lot of ugly things that took place during the Great Depression. Google Great Depression pictures, and 9 times out of 10, most of them are down and out families, or people in food lines, or people in tattered clothes, or whereas a lot of families did make it. And I think I told you, there's a gentleman at church, he's 95 years old. He went through the Great Depression, but his family prepared. And a lot of the things that I talk about tonight, his family did. And so they sailed through the Great Depression. It wasn't a cruise or anything like that, but at least they got through it comfortably and things. Again, looking at Noah, it wasn't a pleasure cruise for sure, but he made it through. And that's the key that we need to keep in front of our minds, is that our goal is to create an arc for our family so that we can get through this storm, make it through to the other side, versus basically getting halfway through and sinking. And so if we have all these things put together, then we will make it to that other side. Now, something I encourage people to do and is contact me. Let me help you. Let me, give you some of my advice. Let me give you some of my insight. My mom lived through the Great Depression. I lived through, 2 massive earthquakes. In fact, I don't know if you remember the San Francisco Oakland Bay Bridge earthquake. I lived through that, and in fact, I was a FEMA inspector during that, and so I got to talk to a lot of families and everything that had their home literally destroyed and things. And it's interesting. Side note, rabbit trail. In talking to people, it was interesting to hear from them after losing their home. You know, so many people talked about that they wished they got their family Bible and they wished that they got family pictures. So this is another thing that, start thinking about just to, put in the back of your mind, have some Bibles and have some family pictures, maybe in a vacuum sealed bag or something, so that if you do have to get out of your house quickly, due to tornado or earthquake or hurricane or something like that, you at least can grab those and you have family pictures and you have a family Bible. But it's interesting how many families told me that missing pictures and missing their Bible. And so, but I've lived through a lot. Like I said, I've been through, my mom was a Depression era child, so a lot of this stuff I've been dehydrating. My goodness, I think since age 12. My mom had one of the first dehydrators and all this other stuff, and so we practiced a lot of Depression era sort of stuff. We always had the pickle crock going. We always, picked mustard greens on the side of the road. I remember doing that a lot, or picking berries on the side of the road, or just asking some farmer after he's gone through if we can go through and graze, because the machines don't pick everything and things. But I remember doing a lot of that stuff when we were younger, and so. But my mom taught me a lot of this, living through two earthquakes, 3 hurricanes. I've lived in Central America for 4 years and experienced a lot of that. I did the whole expat thing and stuff. So I'm saying all this because I've got a wealth of knowledge. Oh, I used to jump out of planes, eat monkeys, and kill snakes too. So, but I've got a lot of experience and I want to help you guys. And so if you have any questions or anything like that, leverage me as a resource and let me help you. This is my big mission right now, because I'm seeing this storm coming and this time frame is getting, closer. And something like that is, we may see what happened during the Great Depression and went just like that. So, just because we have time, we don't know how much time. I mean, it can slam shut, something happen, and the economy go upside down overnight. And so really start looking into these, start planning for this. Don't wait for tomorrow. Start doing these things now, because you're going to take time to develop these habits, develop these mindsets, getting right with God, getting right with your family and everything, learning how to hunt and fish and all these other things. So start doing these things now, so that when, a depression hits, you're not behind the 8 ball. And that's what I'm really concerned with a lot of preppers that I talk to. I really, it's getting to the point where I can tell if they're behind the 8 ball or not. But if you tell them, they're like, no, man, we're not behind the 8 ball. We got our beans, bullets, and band-aids. We'll make it. Not from what I've seen with going on with the Great Depression, not with the research that I've seen, and not with the commonalities of, or the things that the families that did make it versus the families that did. And so I'm deeply concerned. And another reason too, I'm going to be very selfish, is I want allies. I don't want enemies. And so the more allies I have, the better. And so this is why I'm more than willing to help you guys get. I want allies. So any questions? What are you guys doing to prepare for a depression? Are you guys even preparing for a depression? Do me a favor, give me some comments below. Let's get some audience participation here. Let's see what's going on. Let's see here. Wow, we got a lot of comments. You guys have been busy. Lori says you should try the book Back to Eden Garden. Very good book. Very, very good. Yeah, I had that one. I lost it somewhere in one of my moves. I plan on getting it again, but yeah, the whole Back to Eden is a good thing. Going to get some rest, cold wipe. Okay. It's funny how we notice these things about others too. Yeah, I mean, I'm seeing it, and it's like they don't. Having domestic rabbits, yep, we do. We hunt, yes, and we process deer. Very good, Heather. Good job. They're also injecting the wild deer. Be careful. I have heard some of that, but I haven't seen seen it, at least here in our area. I have heard that they are doing something like that because there's two diseases going on with deer. But we know how to hunt fish. Half a moose provides us for a whole year. Yeah, okay. You AK, you live up in Alaska, then moose. But yeah, that's a good one. It's amazing how many people have paid money for someone to clean their house. I prefer cash. Another thing, this is something that in my research, cash is king, folks. And a lot of people, oh, we're going to lose $1 and this, that, and everything. No matter what, people still resort to what is familiar, meaning these little green pieces of paper. And so cash is king. I'm a big proponent of keeping some cash on hand, as well as having some precious metals. I'm big on copper right now. Let's see, what else do I got in here? This is my little navy door. Big on copper. Copper prices now, you can probably get a loaf of bread or a dozen eggs with something like this and everything, but the prices are going up in copper, and I've been following this for a while now. A lot of people are speculating that copper is just going to fly through the roof because there just isn't enough of it, and because there's such a huge demand for it, doing with all our electrics, and especially with all the electric vehicles and all this green energy junk and everything like that. Copper is huge. So start looking at that. Copper right now, I think, is sitting somewhere about $4 and some odd cents for a round. I don't know. Another thing is look at silver. Get silver, precious metals. But cash and precious metals were huge. Something else I'm a big proponent. I've shared this with you guys before. These are, let's see if I can show it to you. This is called gold back. And these are actually gold impregnated notes, and very counterfeit proof. I mean, they've done all the research on it. These are a good thing to have on hand, good for barter, because again, during the Great Depression, barter and trade was something that was very, very popular. And because, cash was hard to find, or hard because people just didn't have jobs and things. So yeah, start looking into those things. 2K of canned food. A lot easier to do summer. Good job there, Heather. Seeing a leak back for the garden. I just picked up a bunch of seconds of apples. Oh, good job. And for those of you who got farmers markets, start looking into those things. One, if you see, these rather bigger farmers and everything, they usually will have canning vegetables or seconds. But canning vegetables, I can go out to my farmer's market, not this year, but last year, I got a case of canning tomatoes. And these are ugly tomatoes. They may have been split or peeled, or they got these blemishes or these weird growths, or they're not pretty looking tomatoes or anything. So they call those canning tomatoes. And last year I picked up a case, and this was a big case, the big thick case. So it probably had about 3, maybe 4 layers of tomatoes in it, and for $17. But if you go to a farmer's market, ask for canning vegetables. So canning zucchini, canning tomatoes, canning whatever, and or seconds, meaning, your discards or something like that. They don't throw it away, but they know that a lot of people use that for canning or preserving and so forth and so on. So it's a great way to get produce at a greatly reduced price is by doing that. So thank you, Heather, for reminded me of that one. Just picked up a bunch of seconds. Last week, got 50 pounds of cranberries from a local bog and turned them good stuff. Good job there, Heather. I have a little of the shiny stuff. Good job, Chantel. But these are things that helped people get through the Great Depression. And so I strongly encourage you guys to really look over that list that I presented and really do a self-evaluation, because again, I don't think that beans, bullets, and band-aids is something that is a foundation, but we need to start taking it further, folks, so that we are stronger mind, stronger body, and just have it go in stronger relationship with our family, stronger relationship with God, stronger relationship with our neighbors and everything. The people who made it during the Great Depression were just stronger people versus those who didn't. And even those who maybe had the beans, bullets, and band-aids still didn't make it because they lacked a lot of those other attributes that were needed. So any questions, any comments, anything like that? hopefully this was a good talk tonight and you learned something from it, and hopefully it helped you, gave you some ideas and everything. And again, if you have any questions or anything, please, by all means, reach out to me, ray@raymore.com, ray at raymondmoore.com. That's MHOR.com. Friend me on Facebook. I live on Facebook and things. And then, get on my newsletter, sign up my newsletter. This last month, September, I went and visited my brother who's dying of cancer, and keep him in prayers. He's not doing too good right now. And then I developed a really bad bronchial illness and everything. So September, I was just completely wiped, everything fall to the wayside. And, so what I've been doing, this month, here's half the month is over, is really trying to get back into my processes and schedule and getting my rhythm back and everything. So I say that because last month I didn't do squat for sending out my newsletter. Oh, Daphne wanted to come up and say hi. Hi, Daph. So, but get on my newsletter, go to my website, raymondmoore.com or thekiltedprepper.com, and sign up for my newsletter. Get on my Telegram group. Same thing. I kind of lagged because, all the other junk that happened, but I'm going to be operating Telegram again. Then, get on Facebook, friend me. Get into our new Facebook group. It's called Kilted Prepper Community. Check that out and, join it. We've got a great folks growing and everything. And so we're trading a lot of good ideas and secrets and tips and tricks and stuff like that. So, but all these links and everything are down below, and make sure that you do that. Let's build this community. Let's continue to grow. And then also, finally, if you're new here, like, subscribe, share, and ring that little bell so you get notified whenever I do go live or post a new video. Help me get to 1,400 subscribers. I'm sitting at 1330 and of subscribers, and I want to get to 1,400. So start telling your friends about this channel. Start sharing it with other people and everything. And if you're not a subscriber, please subscribe. In fact, do me a favor right now, hit that thumbs up button. Thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up. Do that right now. So, but that's all the housekeeping stuff that I can think of. And this was a good evening. I really appreciate your time here, and I appreciate all the great community questions and everything. How do you get gold backs? The website is goldback.com, but also you need to actually buy them from where I do a lot of my stuff is J&M Bullion. I used to work a lot with APMX, or apmx.com, but their prices of insurance, all that other stuff, I've now moved over to J&M Bullion. J&M Bullion sells gold backs and everything, so it's a great place to get them. I strongly, recommend that you get these things because they are. And heck, if you don't want to carry this thing around anymore, melt it and get the gold out. It's easy as that. So, let's see here. How do I get gold backs? Yep. Also hit my Amish guy's stand, knowing he's good. Yeah. I wish we have Mennonites here. And in fact, they had a great sale on bacon. And so I want to say it was $45 for 10 pounds. And so I bought 3 boxes of bacon. And so picking it up Tuesday, and I'm going to be, vacuum sealing it. And so that should give us some bacon for a while. We're big bacon eaters. I like my bacon. But yeah, if you have Mennonites or Amish around you, but if you have Mennonites, odds are you have a Mennonite grocery store. And the reason I'm mentioning that is because you can get all your dry goods there. Wheat, rice, corn, oats, millets, you name it, all the dry goods, and they got great prices. Now, like a bag of hard red wheat, 50-pound bag, when I bought it was about $31 for a 50-pound bag. I think it's gone up now to about $45. But still, with all the dry goods, the grains coming up short right now. The wheat harvest has been doing poorly. Rice harvest is doing okay, but you heard about India, and India's shut down the whole rice, which is one of the largest rice producers in the world, next to China. But so rice, but a lot of the grains, a lot of the cereals or staple products are really coming up short due to the war in Bosnia, due to weather. We here in the States is majorly due to weather and everything, either droughts or too much heat or too much rain. Everything has been wiping out a lot of these crops. So really look at your dry goods and get on top of that. But I say that, but check to see if you have a Mennonite store in your area. Great thing to take advantage of. If you don't, look into the Mormon cannery. The Mormons usually have a cannery in every state, and it's usually in one of the large cities and stuff like that. But they're a great source for getting your dry goods as well. Really start looking into that, because dry goods are going to desperately go up or drastically go up in price this year, just because it's such a huge shortage in everything. Secured a source of meat in this week. Awesome. Good job. Yeah, you're doing it there, Chantel. I try to buy rolls of quarters, nickels, and dimes every week. That's a good idea too. In fact, when you do that, look for silver. And what's a really good idea is try order some $50 rolls, and 9 times out of 10, you will probably find at least a 40% silver coin in that. And so it's a great way to get him free silver. I have to run. So, okay, we'll see you, Lori. Good job. Good deal. Have, then you have bacon grease. Yeah, we save our bacon grease like crazy. So, but yeah, we use bacon grease. I make bone broth, because we have a beef source here as well. So we get the bones and everything, but I make our own bone broth in our Instapot, and I save all that beef fat, that beef tallow, and we use that in cooking as well. So helps the flavor. But that's everything that I can think of. We're coming up here on 56 minutes. I really appreciate you guys hanging out with me. Hopefully this was a good topic for tonight. Hopefully gave you some things to think about, really do some self-assessment and everything. And again, if you have any questions or I can help with anything, please contact me. I'm here. Leverage me as a resource. That's what I want to do. It's what I feel my calling in life is. And I'm really pushing hard to go that direction, to try to help more people as much as I can, because I want allies, not enemies. So that's my selfish motive. Call that selfish motive. But I just enjoy teaching. I enjoy sharing the information, and I want to see people be able to prosper and make it through to the other side of the storm. So that's everything. We'll see you. Raymond Moore, Kilted Prepper. You've been watching Kilted Prepper Live. We'll see you. Goodbye. God bless. And kilt on.